Hey guys, you're watching Rye and Reviews. I'm Tanisha. This is Courtney.
Hey guys.
We're going to be reviewing Insecure Season 3, Episode 6, Ready Like.
All right, welcome back. Tanisha's back. Aren't we
Yes,
glad to have her
she's
back?
back.
Yay!
Whoop, whoop.
So we just finished watching Ready Like. We got some great reviews on our episode from last week, so we just wanted to shout out everybody who reached out to us. And also, R.L. O'Brien, you left a comment. I think it was going to me saying that Issa is very self-centered, and that's why she was feeling like she had messed everything up. You had mentioned that, you know, because she had messed so many things up with Lawrence Daniel, her old supervisor, and even with Molly, maybe it's just getting back to her at this point. That could be the issue, but I stick to my guns. She's a pretty self-centered person, so
Wow.
that's where I stand. And nothing really in this episode has changed that for me. But before we get into the episode, let's get into the drink. So this week, we are having, what did you call this?
Irish Ale.
The Irish Ale. It's pretty simple. It's a little bit of lime, fresh squeezed, a little bit of rye, and a little bit of ginger beer. One of my friends, Eric, put me onto this. I didn't know it had a name until Tanisha found it for me. But here is to the Irish Ale.
Yes. It's quite tasty, if I do say so myself.
I know. This is my third drink where she said it's quite tasty. I want you guys to take note. So anyways, Ready Like. Episode 6, Ready Like Insecure. And we start off basically where we left on episode 5 with Lawrence's return. Hey! Oh, don't seem so sad about it.
I don't know if I'm that excited that he's back. My first note about him is Lawrence a hoe. So, so that was my first note about him being back in this episode and this basic like montage of him being a hoe. And it doesn't surprise me. His wholeness post Issa is not a surprise at all. Hopefully there will be some growth. But yeah, I don't know how to feel. I mean, I totally get where they're going, but I don't know how I feel about Lawrence being back.
So yeah, I was going to argue with you about this. But yeah, Lawrence is a hoe. Lawrence has been being a hoe at least when he was single. But I want to point out, he was single. So, I mean, he just enjoyed himself. He didn't cheat on anybody, hasn't broken anybody's heart.
Got chlamydia though.
And you know what? Everyone gets burned. So
Not everyone. Not everyone.
Oh,
Don't
well,
put that voodoo on me.
maybe you just haven't gone through your whole phase yet.
Hey, don't put
But
that voodoo
it
on me.
happens.
Wrap
I
it up,
mean,
kids.
Yes, wrap it up. But STDs happen, and you know, it happens. And it just to juxtapose Lawrence's whole phase against everybody else's whole phase. You know, Issa was a cheater and then decided to be a hoe. Chad was a cheater and a hoe, and then he got left at the altar. At least it appears that way
Also,
from the flashback.
it doesn't surprise me. I told you. Remember, I was telling you that he was cheating on the girl the whole time.
Right, and you know what, I was wrong about that. I thought he was cheating beforehand, but apparently he was cheating on her the whole time. And you know, I guess I'm proud of her for, you know,
Leaving him.
She could have did it before the altar, but
I mean, no time like the present in some situations.
but yeah, everyone else who had been being a hoe was not in a very good position to go through their hoe phase. Lawrence was free. Lawrence was single. He was a hoe. He should have worn protection a little better. But, or maybe, well, yeah. So, you know, I ain't mad about it. But yeah, he was a hoe.
In terms of Ready Like, I guess for him at least, it would be interesting to see where it goes because from what he said, it doesn't seem like he's very comfortable in his whole phase. I think he's very much a relationship guy, so to me, I think he's ready to get back into a relationship. So in terms of being ready, I think it's going to be more personal versus professional. So again, I would be interested to see where it goes with him.
Yeah, but we didn't really get too much more from him, so
Right.
we can move on.
Okay.
What else did we have?
Issa.
Yeah.
She's trying to play at a festival, a music festival.
I'm actually surprised she followed through, quite frankly.
I thought it was just like a high fever dream, to be quite honest.
Right.
I didn't really think she was going to remember it.
I didn't think we were going to be at city planning with her getting the, the permits and everything to make this happen. So I wonder if it's going to happen, actually.
I mean, I do think it's very ambitious. And I wonder if it's going to happen for that reason, especially when her timeline was a month. That just lets me know that she hasn't really thought about all of the things that go into planning something of the size. I hope it works out, because it sounds like her heart is in the right place. This is obviously right up her alley with the focus being on music, but I don't know. We'll see if she really follows through with this and does create a plan and does pull it off. I would like to see that happen for her.
Me too. And I think that her planning, it shows us that, like I was saying in the last episode, the most supportive person that she's had in her life romantically so far has been Nathan. And you see that with him, supporting her through this dream, going to her with city planning, like, you got this, I'll help with the documents or whatever, He's actually been a supportive guy. I still think he's hiding something, but he's been pretty supportive.
And that is a wonderful transition for Nansford, a.k.a. Nathan. Because in terms of being ready, like, we have the same with the two of them in bed. And he's the first one to say, and again, he surprised me. He was the first one to say that he liked Issa. And I know, the soft bigotry of low expectations. He just said he liked the girl and I loved her. But at least he's putting it out there. Like, I appreciate somebody who's direct and they tell you exactly how they feel. And I appreciate the fact that he put it out there. I do think he's very supportive. But yes, I do get the feeling that he's hiding something. So I feel like Issa should tread lightly, because I just wouldn't put all of my eggs in his basket, at least for right now. I think it's a little too early for that.
And he might not know how to relationship. He's already told us he hasn't really been in relationships, and he seems a little spooked by the fact that he likes Issa, judging by the fact that he says, when do you know whether it's real? And then, he says he doesn't really ever like people, and then he disappears after that scene. So
yeah, he's been giving us some red flags. Initially, before Coachella, he didn't follow up with Issa after they had that, cute day together. And now we learn at the end of the episode that he's kind of like been on radio silence. So I don't know. There's definitely some red flags there. Not following up, admitting that he's never been in a relationship. So he has some, good and bad things going for him. But we'll see what happens.
Right. So then when we move from Issa and Nathan, we finally get back to Molly. Mm-hmm. We realize Molly still has a connection from back in the episode where she meets up with Andrew at Coachella, and she left her jacket with him.
I'm glad she found that jacket, actually. I'm really surprised.
You were sitting here talking about how you would sell the jacket.
Did I? I wouldn't sell the jacket. I'm surprised that they have it and that it's in one piece. It wasn't torn up.
Well, he clearly kept her jacket because he wanted to make further contact with her. But once again, Molly has this idea that everything in her life has to be X, Y, and Z that she planned. And I get it, I understand. But at this point, she's wearing me out. Like,
I think
move on.
I think they're going to get some backlash for some of her comments. And I get what they're doing, because I do think some black women still have this ideal relationship in mind in terms of ending up with a black man. That is the truth for some people. But I do think they're going to get this pushback, like, oh, interracial relationships happen every day. Why is Molly so resistant? This is a played out idea. But it's not. When she said, like, oh, I don't want to, date outside of my race. I just want to, what did she say? Orthodox black.
Orthodox black.
I cringed, but if people are being honest with themselves, she's not the only one who feels that way. Are interracial relationships more common? Now, absolutely. But do a lot of women, black women especially, feel that they want to end up with a black man? Yeah. So I like the fact that they put it in there, but I think they are going to get some pushback on that whole commentary. But yeah, I feel like Molly, she needs to step outside these preconceived notions, as you said, and she also needs to go back to a therapist on a more regular basis, because I just feel like she's living in a fairy tale land. Like, she's very mature on the one hand, but on the other hand, she has completely unrealistic expectations of what happens in life. So
I don't know if she has unrealistic expectations. I actually disagree with that. I think that her expectations are perfectly fine. And I didn't even have an issue or it didn't even strike me as a problem that she wants to date within her race. Plenty of people have preferences, and I didn't even think about the backlash that could come from it. What I'm getting tired of, you've already spoke to your therapist about this once, twice, and we've at least, I think, seen it twice, is the idea that it has to come out the way she's planned it in her head. So, to me, her commentary, yes, she wants to date inside her race, but it's still getting back to he has to have a 401k and be a professional, and it's like it's still the ideal relationship that she has in her head that she's going for. And sure, shoot for the moon, but this guy doesn't seem bad. Like,
he's cute.
You don't even know what's gonna happen here.
He's direct. He asks you out on dates. Go for it, girl.
He's direct. He's followed up. He didn't sell your jacket. I mean, he doesn't seem crazy. You've already had a good time with him on, the makeshift date that you had at Coachella. Go on a date. It might not work out. It might work out, but you don't know if you don't try, and it's not like Molly has anybody knocking down her door.
This is true. I mean, don't get me wrong. Molly has a lot going for her. She's beautiful. She has it together. She has her own place, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, she is also very closed-minded, and I like, at least by the end of the episode, she opened up the possibility of going out with a date. But I agree with that assessment. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say they're unrealistic expectations, but she is very closed-minded in a way that doesn't make sense to me, because her complaint continues to be that things aren't working out the way that she planned, and that just, to me, it should say to her, like, well, maybe I should stop relying on set plans and just sort of go with the flow. So I agree with your assessment. Maybe her expectations aren't unrealistic, but she is very closed-minded. I'm glad that she seems to be opening up. So for her, Ready Like maybe is ready for new opportunities. And in terms of new opportunities, I do feel that her running into Dro was very interesting. Dro remains an asshole in this episode. Am I wrong? Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
It's funny because your opinion always comes from one side. You make it seem like Dro just is an asshole. Dro's an asshole because he's giving Molly back what she gave him.
Wait a minute. She tried to set boundaries. She asked for her key back, and he got angry about the fact that she asked for the key to her house back. That was how they were left. Yes, that's how we left things. She went up to him. Okay.
I take it back.
I just want to.
I take it back. You're right. You're right. Molly was completely in the right to ask for her key back and say, "This is the boundary. We're not gonna, cross that line anymore." And she was the bigger person. She walked up to him, tried to speak to him.
Thank you.
And he couldn't handle it. But it was that situation that ultimately got her to say, "You know what? Maybe I will try out Andrew." It's like, was she still holding on to it?
I hope not. I mean, they're friends. They're childhood friends, so maybe she wanted to at least regain that friendship. But I don't know. I felt like after that whole blow up, that ship had sailed. But I think seeing everything that happened at the baby shower just pushed her a little bit more. And maybe the fallout with Dro, when she saw like he was still being an ass, she was just like, oh, I definitely need to move on. And we get the big reveal that Dro is having a baby with his wife. So that's a great Easter egg. Moving on. But I mean, they're not interesting. Candace and Dro are interesting because Molly is fucking Dro. But Candace and Dro by themselves, I just thought the connection in terms of Molly's conversation with Issa, where she was saying like, Tiffany, she's having a baby and I don't even have a date. And then come to find out this man that she had this very significant relationship with, I mean, it's not uncommon, but he's having a baby with his wife. Like, again, it's people making transitions and moving forward. So I just thought that was a good, reveal that they included in there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
I don't know. Candace is about as useful to me as Issa's brother is.
Issa's brother is hilarious.
He is not. They could talk about them, and that's enough character for me. They could leave them actually out of the show. Wow. Both of them. But there is a part in the episode at the baby shower where we see the four friends, the four female friends, lady friends, woman friends, whatever you guys want to be called, end up outside, and it comes to a head where you kind of see that these guys aren't really Tiffany's friends, in my opinion. Kelly, clearly the closest friend to Tiffany, but at this point, I mean, Kelly, I'm sure, is questioning the friendship. They're not Tiffany's friends. Tiffany has her own little core group of people throwing parties for her, and even if you take it not from, their side, but from Tiffany's side, these people want to be my friends and they want to be in my crazy girl gang, but not one of them has stepped up and say, let me celebrate you and your first child and throw you a baby shower. And you know, I've never had a baby. I'm never going to have a child. But I've been in a position where I've sat back and said, I don't have one friend who's going to throw a birthday party for me. How close am I to these people? So I can understand how she feels. Like, you rock with the people who rock with you.
I can understand how Tiffany feels, but I also feel like there is blame to go around on all sides. And I just think they're trying to handle this new dynamic in their friendship, and they're not doing it very well. Like, clearly, you know, Issa, Molly, Kelly, they can't really identify with what Tiffany is going through because they're not married, they're not having babies, so they can't identify. And that makes Tiffany feel isolated. And they're also very self-centered. I mean, Kelly says she offered to throw the baby shower, and Tiffany, you know, let someone else who I guess isn't as close to her, but who is having a baby, she let her do it. So I do feel like there's blame to go around on all sides. Like, Tiffany is feeling more connected to, you know, this new friend group because they have babies or they're about to have babies. But also on the other side, it's just like, okay, we can't really identify with what she's going through, but we're not making an extra effort to identify with that. So I think it's just a rough transition for them. I don't think it means that they're not friends. I think that they're not handling this transition well. And hopefully they'll get better at it because obviously they've been friends for a long time. So I would hate to see the relationship completely blow up, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I think their relationship is pretty much done.
So dramatic.
It's a television show. We don't have that much time to go through the intricacies of friendships or whatever. You just got to hit the
season. What are you talking about?
And the next season will be about something else. But you have to hit the nail on the head. So you just got to go for it. And I think that the drama is going to be, you know, Tiffany, if you ask me, has been feeling this way for a while. It's not just about this new change in the dynamic. I think the change in her status has pointed out to her, this is what I've been feeling for a while. These people aren't really my friend. And now that I'm actually going through a life-changing event, and I see that I don't have their support, this really lets me know that these people aren't really my friends. And then she was completely shady to Kelly, because if anybody's her friend, it's Kelly. And if Kelly reached out to her and said, hey, I want to plan your baby shower, and you didn't do it because she doesn't have a child, that's ridiculous. Anybody can plan a bunch of stupid games with bottles and rattles and diapers that appear to have poop in them. I mean, anybody can do that. You don't have to have a child to get that done. I agree. So she was just completely shady to Kelly. I think that Molly and Issa got what they deserved. And quite frankly, I don't think that they were really affected by it. At the end that they're washing dishes, like, that's your mea culpa? You're right.
You cleaning up. That's helpful.
We weren't here for you, but let's wash this wine glass. We'll make up for it.
I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a reach, but we'll see. We'll see. I feel like it's hard. It's difficult when the dynamic in your group changes, and it is changing for them. Now, do I think that Kelly and Tiffany are closer than, you know, to Issa and Molly? Yeah, I do think that there's that kind of dynamic in the relationship, but I don't think that, you know, this has been an underlying issue for them. I just think that whatever dynamic they already had, these issues it's putting pressure on the relationship because it's such a big transition. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
We will. And so there was something else I wanted to say about this baby shower. Oh, I think that it showed us that Issa and Lawrence have gotten to a point where they can speak, they can say hi, bye. But to me, it looks like the remnants of we love one another are there, but we both understand that this is over and we can move forward. You know, it's different. Both of them had mentioned how it was different. You can see the interaction. I think that relationship dynamic is done. Will they maybe kiss or hook up? Sure, but will they be a couple again? I don't think so.
I think it's too soon to tell. It's one thing for us to be together in a group setting and it just be us and we, you know, vibe and we are able to kiki it up. But let's just say that at the next group event, Issa brings Nansford or Lawrence brings new chick. I just feel like a lot of the issues that or feelings, I should say, maybe not issues, but feelings, they may come up again or maybe not. I just feel like, yes, they did well in this particular group setting, but if the dynamic was different and one of them or both of them brought someone else to this party or something like that, I just feel like things might not have gone as smoothly, but we'll see.
So that's a good point that you brought up, and I think it's actually our final point. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But Issa bringing Nansford around anywhere because Nansford has been gone. He's disappeared again, and at the end of the episode, we realize, or we get the information that, you know, we actually get the information in the middle of the episode. There's an investigation going into the party lift fight. But by the end of the episode, even though Nansford isn't answering his phone, which he hasn't set up his voicemail on, he at least called the lift investigator back and cleared up the lift issue for Issa, which I thought goes back to him being supportive of her at least. But he still hasn't returned any text messages or given her any phone calls. So we know he's alive. We know that he's operating in a sense. But that also lets us know that he is actively ignoring Issa. So, I don't know. This just gets back to me saying the dude is hiding something. He's hiding something.
I mean, he could be hiding something, or he could be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, sometimes it really is, like, the easiest answer. Like, he just isn't good at communication. He doesn't know what to do with these feelings that he has for Issa, or he isn't exactly ready to jump into the relationship. Like, he might like her, but that doesn't mean that he wants to be serious. He wants to be serious with her, and so he's avoiding, you know, further conversations about it, whatever the case may be. So I don't know. It could be that he's hiding something, or it could be that he's just a fuckboy. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep. And one last point, because I think it's a vindication on my side. Remember the line where Issa says Nansford is the first person she's had real feelings for, aside from Lawrence? And then she even characterizes her feelings for Daniel as, you know, Daniel feelings or whatever. I think that goes back to the idea that she was fucking over Daniel. Just want to put that out there.
What?
Daniel was not the bad guy in that situation. He was not the bad guy.
That's a reach.
Well, we're out of time.
You
So you go ahead and reach back and let's close up the episode. So we're going to finish our episode with our reviews, or I guess our official letter grades that we're going to give the episode. What is your grade?
I give it an A. I thought it was a really good episode.
I give it an A too. Please leave Candace and Issa's brother out of all further episodes, writers. I'm begging you. They're terrible characters. We only need to mention them. They don't add anything when they act. Just leave them out of the episodes.
Don't listen to him.
Anyways, what do you give this drink?
I give this drink a B+.
A B+. Hater. All drinks made by me are A+ drinks. Just want to let you know. Her drinks are pretty good too. But mine are always A+ drinks. Anyway, so for this episode of Rye and Reviews, I'm Courtney.
I'm Tanisha.
She's Tanisha. We're drinking
Irish Ale.
And we're loving the show. Thank you guys for following, liking, subscribing, for commenting. We hope you like this episode, and we hope that you keep with us. What's our cheers to? What's our toast to?
Our toast is to babies.
All right. Toast to babies. Other people's babies.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
See you later.